All right, guys, what's up? Today's new episode, I'm sitting down with Masterclass alumni producer. We've got Addy, also known as Jack Trades. What's going on, man?
Hey, not much. How's it going?
Pretty good. Thanks for joining this week. So, what is the topic you want to discuss for this week?
Neighboring rights. I know we talked about this briefly, but I just signed to a neighboring rights company just recently to get all my fees and everything that I'm owed through radio, and just want to get my head around exactly what neighboring rights is all about and how it's different from the PRO,
Yeah.
right? So you got your pub and then you got your neighboring rights.
Yeah.
So I know they're two different things, but they're very similar,
Yeah,
right?
so it's a great question because I think this is going to be a perfect topic for a lot of alumni to look at because if people aren't collecting neighboring rights, you could potentially be losing out on a good amount of royalties, and that's good for all producers, And one thing I want to point out too is if you're not signed up to a neighboring rights company yet, don't panic because the money is not going to be gone. When your
Right,
royalties, what I call it as your royalties are sitting in a black box, it's the same thing when you're signing with a publisher and they collect, 5 years previous records, that money will still be there. So with a neighboring rights company, when you sign to them, the like you said, it is related, and they also refer to neighboring rights as related to, because it is
right,
related to performance rights, your PRO. So
right,
neighboring rights collects your master. So let's just get that done first. So as you know, you have 100% master, you have 100% composition. So you own
right,
200% of every song. Your neighboring rights collects just on the master recording only. They do not collect on your composition. That's going to be your PRO, your publisher, like your BMI, your ASCAP. That's who collects that side. So don't think about the
right.
composition. This is why it's important for, initially when you're signing your contracts, you're doing your splits and saying, hey, I want 50%. It's really important when you go through all your splits when you're doing your record. Let's say you had 3 people on your record and you had a vocalist and you're ending up with 10% of the master. Well, don't expect to make a boatload of money through your neighboring rights because you gave away all that master recording. You know what I mean? So that's something to think about. If you're giving away a large percent of the master, you're not going to make that much royalties through a neighboring rights organization. Does that make sense?
Okay, so that means let's just say there's a 70-30 split. Okay, label takes 70, I take 30. So then my collection on the neighboring rights is 30% on the
Yeah,
master.
and then your neighboring rights most likely takes another percent of that 30. Which is fair. They also have to make something out of it too, which I totally get.
Right,
Sometimes it can be a 90-10, sometimes an 80-20 with them. They'll give
right,
you 80, they'll take 20. So it is good because they are doing the far-fetched stuff that we can't do or we shouldn't even focus on. We can't
right,
understand if a track is played in a store or when it's played in a club. We can't always track that, and that's their job. So giving them 20, 30%, it makes sense. But again, it comes down to how much of the master you own at the end of the day. And
right.
it can be tricky if you guys have a lot of writers and, or a collaboration, you have, several producers, then you get the vocalist. It is difficult. In the ideal world, if you can obviously own close to the 100%, then the neighboring rights amount that you can get on a great record, it's definitely there.